What the hell was that? Someone's going to have to explain this one to me. I don't know. That was I don't know what that was. This wasn't basketball. This was who can blow their whistle the loudest. That was incredible. Arguably one of the, I mean, look, I said this earlier on in the year. It's going to be hard to see a game that was so poorly officiated like the one that Arkansas saw against LSU on the road. And I definitely didn't think we would see this at Bud Walton. Not to this degree. It was worse. This was worse than LSU, and it may not even be close. And I'm not saying that only that Arkansas got some calls. They did. They got that typical kind of home cooking. They did. They got some of that. Absolutely. I mean, go look at the shots at the free throw line for Arkansas. But LSU, in the first half, it was they just absolutely let LSU body Arkansas down underneath and play as physical as they wanted. And then anytime Arkansas tried to D up inside, if there was any little bit of contact, it would get – look, it's terrible. That was bad. And it was on both ends. It was. Again, it's not like Arkansas didn't get a couple of calls. They did, but I said this in chat. Someone in Discord said, you know, it's not this one isn't completely on officiating. Well, it's never completely on officiating, right? Like you got to mess up a lot to you know, well, not a lot, but it's never 100% on officiating. But tonight, and it's always the case, especially in the SEC. SEC officiating is bad. It is bad. It's really bad. And they have a reputation. Not even just from SEC fans. I've talked with Pac-12, ACC fans, Big Ten fans, Big 12. They hate SEC officials, guys. It's not a thing just to SEC fans because they think that because you know it's within their conference that's all they see. No, that's not the case. It's more about how big of a hurdle you have to overcome with officiating. Officials shouldn't have that large of an effect on a game like they did tonight, and they did. They had a big effect. Okay, Tommy Kraft, who's on the radio, he's also a part-time official. He's a ref, and he defends the refs all the time. I'm really curious to see what he says tomorrow. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to listen to him all morning, but I'm really curious to hear what he has to say tomorrow morning about this officiating. This really was bad. Arkansas could not touch these sons of bitches. They couldn't touch them. And yet, you've got their big 7'14", big pasty sumbitch just body bumping Isaiah Joe when he tried to go underneath. I think it was in the first half. Body bumps him out of bounds, and it's South Carolina ball and no foul. And then who was it? Was it Seals? Who was it in the second half? Got bodied out of bounds. I think he was not coming off a rebound, but he was coming off maybe it was a defensive rebound. I can't remember, but he either that or maybe got the ball. He got a pass outside. Out in the perimeter. But he gets bodied out of bounds. Not only is it not a foul, they give the damn ball right back to South Carolina. Oh my God. And it's every once in a while you see that. Like once you'll see that early on, and then the officials will make a note of it and they'll call it. Right? Like they'll correct the mistake. Or you'll get some makeup calls. Arkansas got some makeup calls, okay? Let's not act like they didn't, okay? For the South Carolina fans, they're going to come back through my comments section and call me a son of a bitch for only blaming, you know, the officials playing bias towards South Carolina. No, Arkansas got some makeup calls. They did. Okay, but the officials created such a hurdle in this game. And look, Arkansas got themselves in this situation. How long in the first half until they scored their first points? I'm not denying that. I'm not dismissing that. You can't have this large gap of time to start the game off before you hit your first shot, before you drain your first shot. You can't do that, even against an okay South Carolina team. Kyle in our Discord brought up a really good point. If this was anybody else but Frank Martin coach at South Carolina, Arkansas would have won that game. He gets toughness out of his guys. I like Frank Martin. He's just somebody who you don't ever count him out completely. I know he doesn't have the greatest postseason record, but there's something about the way he coaches and the style that he coaches. I have a lot of respect for him. I like him a lot. And so does former Ole Miss basketball coach Mr. Kennedy. I swear to God, I think he was rubbing his nipples every time he talked about Frank Martin. Like, bro, I'll tell you what, man. Every time South Carolina, man, I'm just going, oh man, oh, I love me that coach right there, South Carolina. Oh, he gave Arkansas. I mean, he was respectful to the Hogs. Don't get me wrong, but. Not very good on the play-by-play. Not good as a in that role with the SEC network. Oh, Kennedy! That was such a bad. Let them play basketball. For the love of God, let them play basketball, and they just didn't. But again, it's not ever 100% on officiating. It certainly was a large part of Arkansas's inability to make anything happen. Mason Jones was cold, his typical first half self. Turns the ball over a couple times in the first half, kind of disappears. He might get a few points, and then the second half he just goes off. That's the most Mason Jones thing ever. I was proud of him. Sills got knocked down early, and we all thought in Discord, wow, he got hurt. Like, that didn't look good. But I saw him put pressure. And anytime you see a guy who's favoring a knee, ankle, whatever, their legs, and then they get up and they're able to put pressure on it without a whole lot of assistance, you feel pretty good. And when I saw that, I thought, okay, he'll come back. He'll be all right. He was tough. I thought, Witt, South Carolina, they knew how to prepare. And again, this goes back to Frank Martin as a head coach. He'll take away your greatest strengths, and I think that's what they did a little bit tonight. You got to credit South Carolina's defense. Again, this was definitely a combination of a lot of different things. Isaiah Joe, I don't know if coming off the bench did him a whole lot of good, or if it was just that he's finally starting to get back to 100%. Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. Maybe we see him do that again. I don't know how many total minutes he logged tonight, but I'm sure it was 75, 80% of the game. Mason Jones, though, kept you in it. Without Mason Jones, you don't have any kind of a game. And I don't know. We played our asses off. Every time we get momentum, they'd call a foul. I agree. Every time they would get within 2 or 3 damn points, they'd call a stupid foul. Shut up, ref. Swallow your whistle. They smartly rigged it by, I don't know if they rigged it, by calling fouls on South Carolina, but then they were up by 3 or 5. Yeah, every time Arkansas would go on a little run, or not really, they didn't really get in much of it. They couldn't get in rhythm on offense, especially in that first half. But in the second half, you started to see them attack more. You saw Mason Jones drive the lane more. You saw them try to play a little bit more physical game inside the paint. They tried to get something going underneath, and they're doing that to get some pressure off the perimeter shooters. And South Carolina just played some fantastic defense. Why they ever switch off that physical man defense against Arkansas is beyond me. I've been saying this for months. Do not play the 2-3 soft zone against Arkansas when they have that. If all it takes is either a Jimmy Witt 15-footer or Isaiah Joe, who loves playing against that 2-3, he's just going to start knocking them down. And that's exactly what happened. And when they made that switch in the first half, no one really saw it. I guess no one cared in Discord, but I called it. I said, okay, here we go. Here's what's going to happen. They're going to switch to that 2-3, and they're going to get exposed. South Carolina is going to get exposed with that defense. You can't play the 2-3 soft cover zone against Arkansas. They will exploit it because of their shooters, and that's exactly what happened. Momentum changed. I liked what you guys. Discord had me cracking up tonight. You guys were killing it tonight. I loved it. I love our Discord during these games, though. I really do. Our boy Lance, I think that's Kelly's husband, he called it. I got to give Lance credit. My boy Lance called it. He said Arkansas was going to lose this thing. He called it like with 10 minutes to go in the first half, but he called it. He was right. Maybe he is Ronnie. Maybe that's where Ronnie ran off to. Rodney, what's going on, Rodney? Hope you're doing well. Final Hog possession was terrible. Desi passed on a decent shot with likely a foul call for contested 3. Yeah, I didn't know what to think about that. You do have to give some credit to South Carolina on that possession on defense. I found it interesting that they could body check Arkansas, they could bump Arkansas, they could run them out of bounds, not only not get called for a foul, they get the ball back in their possession, or the arrow in their possession, they get the ball back. I just, tonight, that hurdle, that officiating hurdle was so high for them to overcome. And it was just too much. Drew, are they going to talk? In our Discord. Yeah, I'm here, Drew. I was here the whole time. We had some technical difficulties, and I know too. As soon as I went, I went live, and then like my phone, the last couple of minutes, I never got a notification. Where's my notification? I don't know. Let's go to the numbers really quick. It's again, Arkansas drops a tough one. South Carolina. I had Arkansas in this one. I knew it would be tough, but I thought this would be one of those games, kind of like what happened with TCU, but where, of course, I didn't see them doing what they did to TCU, but I'm saying what ended up happening against TCU I thought Arkansas would do. But Kotsar was just a problem. He didn't quite get to a double-double, but he was close, 9 rebounds. He had an assist. He had a couple steals, a block, 10 points. He really, his thing is it's not so much obviously what he does on the offensive end. It's his ability to cause trouble and mismatches down underneath. He's not a terrible post guy, really. But their leading scorer, Lawson, who had a pretty good night, 5 rebounds, 19 points. So they shot 28 of 55 from the floor at 51% from the floor. At one point in the second half, the first, I think, 6 minutes, they were shooting north of 70% from the floor. They were not missing. This had to be one of the best games they've played, maybe even not all year, but it may be up there. It might be one of their top 2, top 3 games they've played all year. I got a chance to watch them a little bit earlier on in the year, and I never saw that. They didn't look this good. I mean, they were, they got production. My God, their bench. I mean, they rotated out the entire state of South Carolina. How many ended up getting some time tonight? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys rotated. Again, Lawson was their leading scorer, but their bench, I don't even know. They got a lot of points off the bench. They turned the ball over 16 times, but again, they shot 51% from the floor, 30%. They actually nailed down. They got 6 threes. And then their bugaboo all year has been the free throw line. They're a bad free throw shooting team, and that was the case tonight. But these guys got 33 attempts at the free throw line. 33 attempts. For a visiting team to have 33 attempts at the free throw line is just ridiculous. And it just goes to show you they weren't letting them play basketball on either end of the court. It disrupted the game. Arkansas couldn't get in rhythm because, now, again, some of the fouls were stupid on Arkansas's behalf. They had no business, checking these guys like they were. I think they got away with a couple of pretty obvious reach-ins, which I was kind of surprised by, but then you would see a makeup call like on the very next possession on a soft BS call. But Arkansas would shoot. Now, again, in the first half, I don't know. I forgot what they shot from the floor. It wasn't very good, but they ended up shooting right south of 41%, 22 of 54 from the floor, 7 of 26 at three-point range. So that's just right at 27% there. And then 65%. They shot 40. They had 40 shots at the free throw line. Holy cow. Oh, my God, that's a lot. Arkansas had 24 personal fouls to South Carolina's 33. Unbelievable. Their leading bench, they got 12 from Bolden. Hannibal got 11. Levesque, is that how you pronounce his last name? 8 points, 6 points from McCrary. That's their bench. That's just their bench. 2 of their guys had double digits. 2 of their starting 5, Lawson and Kostar. Yeah, it was just I don't know. Officials were just shit. 2.5 hours for a basketball game is terrible. Yeah. Preach. What is with Witt? One game makes 30 points and wins it for Arkansas. The next game we just said, well, the puppeteer, thanks for the comment. It's make no mistake about it. Watch this game. Go back and watch it. They were not letting him get an easy shot. They were forcing everything to be contested. Refs call way too many fouls. What's up, Pops? I don't know if you're still in chat, but I hope all's well. Daddy, yo. By the way, I will come over to your house and cancel your Netflix account, okay? You got to watch Irishman. I set that up for you. Get off my case. I'll be over there. Ty, I said if we don't do good these next 11 games, then it's going to take a tournament run to possibly make the tournament or the NIT. And that's kind of been where I've been teetering at that point. You know, you're going to need 22 to get into the tournament. And I always hate having to rely on the SEC tournament. I think they can get there without the SEC tournament, but you're right. They may need. It's starting to look that way. You're starting to teeter now on South Carolina. I mean, look, it doesn't get much easier from here, right? I mean, you've got some tough games coming up. And fortunately, there are some SEC teams that have kind of, I don't know, they're not doing as good as we thought, but you still have some tough matchups coming up. And South Carolina wasn't your toughest. I mean, a lot of people, I would argue that probably most people, I mean, Arkansas was favored, like 70% according to the Basketball Power Index, but they were against Kentucky as well. That's 2 drops at home in conference play. And South Carolina, I don't know if they're a tournament team or not, but if they continue to play as well as they did tonight, which I doubt, they may very well be. But, yeah, this is a tough one to swallow. You've got to go on the road against Alabama, who I think got smoked tonight, actually. But then you come home and you play Auburn, and then you go on the road against Missouri. I think Missouri's winnable. Then you're on the road against Tennessee. They're very hot and cold, Tennessee, this year. Then you're at home on February 15th to Mississippi State. I actually had that marked down as a loss. And then you're on the road against Florida. Then you come back home against Missouri. Then you're back with Tennessee. Then you're on the road against Georgia on February 29th, March 4th. Redemption against LSU. We'll see what Arkansas is doing at that point. It's going to be crazy. I think I said this in another show, either on the Hog Talk or here, but it could very well come down to either the last 4 games, Tennessee, Georgia, LSU, A&M, and then that might set you up for something to happen in SEC tournament play. This loss tonight, I mean, it's not a killer. This does not kill your chances, especially, again, it's Frank Martin, South Carolina. I told you guys, don't sleep on South Carolina. Frank Martin is very well respected. He still has a job at SC for a reason, despite poor postseason play. Yeah, this is going to get interesting. The SEC tournament starts March 11th. And March 11th, and then you have your first 4 for the NCAA tournament, March 17th through the 18th. I still think they get there, but they can't have these huge chunks of time where they don't score. I mean, it's just terrible. Desi should have. Witt being non-existent tonight didn't help either. No, it didn't. And again, that's not all on Witt. Go watch the game. They were all over Witt. They did not want him to shake loose. He didn't get many attempts tonight. In the Mississippi State game, Arkansas only had 3 free throws mid-second half. Red Wolves, when will we get a complete Arkansas game from start to finish? Well, I mean, you've had complete games. I mean, you go back to the non-conference. I mean, hell, I think, was it TCU? TCU Arkansas, I thought, played a pretty good game. Sup, Ty? What's up, Mike Ewing? Hope all's well. Bama has a 56% chance of beating us right now. Yeah, and that's on the road, too. And home teams are going to always get a pretty heavy advantage, by the way, according to that Basketball Power Index. Name one SEC ref. Name one time an SEC ref won a game for Arkansas. Also beat 2 top 10 teams. Who did? I'm patiently waiting to hear Ty's thoughts on Malik Hornsby. I don't have anything on him right now other than I think they're leaning on. I think he's leaning towards Arkansas. There's not a lot there right now on him as far as what I know. TQ Jackson, I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but TQ Jackson, I had a text. I did not see it. I was in this conversation with a group of guys, and one of them said TQ coming back, and I thought, what? Well, I didn't see it till later, honestly, but the chat kept going, and I guess I just missed it. It was like I think it was 2 o'clock. I was going through my text messages because we were complaining about the basketball game, and he said, hey, did you not see my tweet or my text from earlier? And so I scrolled back up and looked. Sure enough, there it was. TQ Jackson could be coming back. That's I hope that it happens. So South Carolina this season. Oh, South Carolina does. Okay. Yeah, but they've also got some strange losses this year. But again, I agree. They're kind of like they're a better version of Tennessee this year, I think. And they're starting to play better. Ready for KK and Moses. Oh my gosh, me and you both. Kelly Marie. Witt had 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and only 1 foul. That shows that he didn't do anything showing up. Okay, but you have to have opportunities, Kelly. Watch the game. He was covered up like white on rice. The guy could not shake loose. I didn't say he had a great game. He didn't. 2 of 7. Shot 50% at the free throw line. He did miss that shot. It's weird how some games he'll go 6 for 6 at the free throw line, then he'll shoot 50%. But they were in every shot he had was heavily contested. That's the game of basketball. That is basketball. You're gonna have nights where you just can't shake loose, and you're gonna get these heavy contested shots. So you gotta distribute the ball a little bit better. And I will admit, I thought there were a couple of times when he had the ball in the paint, he took a shot, and I thought, why didn't you kick that out to Mason or something? Scylla got some time tonight. He was 0 for 2, 0 for 1 at 3-point range. Ethan Henderson. Well, I don't know if he actually logged any time, but he's on the depth chart. Sills was 2 of 6, 0 for 3. 0 for 3 at 3-point range, 5 of 8 at the free throw line. Mason Jones was 15 of 16 at the free throw line. That's pretty ridiculous. 9 of 15 from the floor, 1 of 6. And Isaiah Joe, who was on the bench, he started off on the bench, 5 of 16 from the floor. I'll say this, his first few minutes, I just thought that he didn't look himself. He looked sluggish. He just came out so slow. But as the game carried on, and of course he'd end up hitting those 5 threes. Again, Arkansas only hit 7, and he had 5 of them. He started to get in rhythm, started to play a little bit better. Actually looked pretty good on defense. He started to look comfortable. So as the game carried on, I'm curious how that plays out. But he did end up with 16 points. I had some notes pulled up here. Where'd they go? Yeah, Mason Jones this year, that was his 4th 30-point game of the season. Now, that was from Jacob in our Discord. It doesn't surprise me. Yeah, at one point, there were 8 players on the floor, or 8 players on the floor with at least 4 fouls. South Carolina, for about the first 7 to 8 minutes, they were shooting 70%, north of around 70%. To begin the second half. That was just absolutely ridiculous. The last 7 games, Arkansas's won 5 out of the last 7. Arkansas trailed this game by 6 at half, 38-32. Yeah, they just looked flat. I mean, these are the notes that I wrote from the first half. They looked flat on offense. Isaiah Joe just looked sluggish. Again, he would eventually find his rhythm. Lawson was having a ball game. I think he had 10 in the first half. And Arkansas had – here's a crazy stat. Arkansas had 7 offensive rebounds in the first half. 7 in the first half. And that would end up being their only. That was it. They wouldn't do any more on the offensive board. They wouldn't get any more second chance shots. But they wound up with 29 total defensive rebounds and 36 total rebounds. And South Carolina, the exact same amount, 36. And 14 assists for them. Arkansas had 8. There wasn't a whole lot of ball movement, I noticed, especially in the first half. A lot of shots. All their shots were pretty well contested. I mean, every shot was pretty was hard, was difficult. They could not free anybody up. Again, I thought a lot of that had to do with Isaiah Joe's very slow start, and along with all of them. I mean, not just him. Witt was 2 of 7, 3 of 6 at the free throw line. He did have a couple of offensive boards. And he had 3. He ended up with 3 total rebounds. He had a steal. Thought he played good on defense, as he has all year. He's played good on defense all year long. So, all right. I think that pretty well covers it. I think we got it all. SEC refs make me wish the Clintons were Razorback fans. Take it how you will. Oh, that's ridiculous. What's up, Mrs. Growlove? How's it going? Ty, help me. I can't do this anymore. Losing hurts. I agree. And it was a tough one. Like I said, I don't think this doesn't affect you the way that a lot of people think that it will. Excuse me. It's a tough one. It's a dadgum tough one. It's tough to swallow, but at least they made it a game in the second half. Well, I mean, it was a game the whole game, but South Carolina, if they were any better at shooting at the line, this, I think it probably could have gotten ugly, especially considering how many, 56 total fouls. 56 total fouls. I don't know how many fouls in the second half were called. I have no idea, but 56 total fouls. Life is trash sometimes. Please keep me in your thoughts. Jacob, hope all is well, man. Hope you're doing okay. I will do that. I will keep you in my thoughts. Need more than a 7 rotation to get to the tourney. Yeah, that's also a problem, not having depth. Musselman keeps playing off like, depth. We're figuring that out, in their conditioning drills. I don't know if they can keep it up for long. 16 days till Omaha season. God, I know, Kelly. Tell me about it. Baseball season's right around the corner. I'm going to go to some games too. I hope you guys go. I'll be there. I'm going to go to what I can. Of course, we're going to try and get some press credentials. Highly doubt we get any, especially if they happen to watch my foul mouth here on the on Big PTN. The media relations people know who we are. So if any of them, and I think there's a couple of Arkansas Alumni Association people that watch these shows too. I hope they're like, hey, no, look, Ty's a good guy. We know him. We work with the Hog Talk. He's a good guy. Yeah, he swears a little bit. He's got a potty mouth, but he won't do that in the press box. Let him in. Let him cover some games. Porter and I are both going to try and get into some games. I know Jacob would too if he lived closer. Got my first accent today. My grandma's getting scanned for. Ooh, man. Yeah, man. Jacob, sorry to hear that. No answer for the 6'11" big. They had no answer for him. He was a problem, especially. I mean, he should. Let's not kid ourselves. That guy should have fouled out a hell of a lot sooner. I'll tell you that much. Ty, hope for better results Saturday. Go Hogs and be ready for baseball season. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, look, the basketball season's not over with, guys. I still think they're going to the tournament, but the program or the part of the program that has had the most success for a while now, the baseball program, the Razorbacks, they're first pitch is right around the corner. I'm excited. Have they announced when the football spring game is yet? No, they have not. TTV, your boy Judd. They have not. Just wait till we have Vanover and Williams next year. Yeah, Williams. It's going to be nice. It's going to be nice to have some size. All right, thanks again, guys. We'll see you on what is tonight? Oh my gosh, I gotta record the Big Trail Pod tonight. That's what I gotta do. Oh, Discord. Yeah, before I forget. I'm really surprised Kelly hadn't gotten on to me yet for that. Let's see. Oh, and yeah, Goodman, one of our new Patreon. I'll get to that in a second. Hang on. Let me find those invites on our channel really quick. Create invite. No limit. Generate new link. Copy. Here you go. Here's Discord for you guys. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Lance and I will be at the first pitch. I'm pumped. Oh, Kelly, I'm going to try and be there. You know how I can't ever plan anything because we've always got stuff going on with the kiddos. Hang on. I'm going to pull up the old Patreon list here. We got some new patrons. Brett Connor, William Watkins, and John Hawes, and Mr. Goodman have all joined the Patreon page just in the last few days. We're up to 16 total Patreon supporters. I know people hate it. Apparently, there's a couple people who don't like it that I give you guys that I give you guys some love here. I can't understand that. Like, why does that bother people? Of course, I'm going to give you, I appreciate you guys for showing a little extra support. That's awesome. Tell that to Keith. What did Keith do? Peace out, homies. See you, Lance. All right, guys. Again, have a good night. I'll see you on Friday night. I'm going to go record this Hog Talk pod, and I'll see you on Friday. Moo Pigs.